What's up? It's Billy Briz, aka Ackett and Bills on Twitter, joined by my main man, aka DFS by the numbers, Brady. How are you feeling today?
Feeling pretty good, man. How about you?
I actually thought we weren't getting Brady today. I thought Brady was going to the big city, big lights in Nashville, Tennessee. But he stood with us for one more week because it's pay-per-view week and he's got to make some money. And then you go on vacation after you make the money. That's usually how vacation works.
Yeah, exactly. I'm going Monday through Friday. Be back next Friday.
Enjoy yourself, brother. Enjoy yourself. Any special plans for Halloween this weekend?
Not really. When's Halloween? Halloween's on Saturday, right?
Yeah, I think we're creeping up to the year anniversary of the Bobby Green fight, and you had to drink SoCo. But as I digress a little bit, let's get right into this slate. First thing, recapping last slate, I think broad view perspective, we can cut this show pretty short in 30 seconds. Play Tom Brady and Matthew Stafford and don't play any other quarterback for the rest of the year, because that's what it feels like. That's the only thing that's been cashing for me of recent in these last couple of weeks. Those two have been substantially really good GPP plays. How'd you do last week?
I did pretty bad. And it sucks because I looked at the Millie Maker winner lineup and pretty much every single person that was in the lineup, I was on. It's just I couldn't get the right lineup. I had too much Mahomes, and then I had too much Henderson as well. I was really disappointed in Henderson. Matthew Stafford threw the ball 43 times. He only gave Henderson 15 attempts. So, yeah, it didn't do so great. But yeah, looking at that Millie Maker line, I was on the majority of those guys. So just couldn't get them in the right lineup.
I feel like those are the more frustrating weeks than the weeks that where you just way so far outside of it is when you have some of the right answers, but you just couldn't get it. But hopefully we can get the right answers today. Going over to quarterback position at the top, I like Josh Allen in the spot against the Miami Dolphins. I know some people were a little bit scared off by this spot earlier this year, but I think the splits are really good for Josh Allen. But what was the quarterback that enticed you the most? Because I got to update my FanDuel DFS lineup before this locks.
Yep. So yeah, Josh Allen for me up top, 8,100. I think he's in a solid spot against Miami. It's weird for quarterback this week because I don't know if it's the same for you, but there's not a ton of value guys that I like. So up top, I'm liking Josh Allen, and like you said earlier, Matthew Stafford is the man. He's going against Houston. They are 14-point favorites, but I really don't think that matters. I mean, they were 16, 17-point favorites last week, and they threw the ball 43 times. So, yeah, I do like Matthew Stafford here against Houston. Really good matchup, great stacking option, and Cooper Kupp as well. Cooper Kupp, somebody we'll definitely talk about. So, yeah, Stafford, 7,600, Josh Allen, 8,100. I'm liking both of those guys. And then also Jalen Hurts, 7,200. This is probably where I'm going to go in cash. And the thing about Hurts is he's had at least 21 DraftKings points in every single game this year. Has rushing yard upside, touchdown upside as well. And then also has a phenomenal matchup against Detroit in a 48-point total. So, yeah, Hurts in cash, and I'm also sprinkling in some Allen and Stafford and GPPs up top.
It's interesting that you said Hurts in cash because honestly, I didn't know if I was going to get there with Hurts in cash, but you're kind of talking me into it a little bit, Brady, to be honest with you. Did Ryan Tannehill catch your eye a little bit at all at $6,600, $7,500? I know that Indianapolis and Tennessee game could be a game that could cause a lot of ownership on the slate, and I feel like nobody's going to play any Ryan Tannehill in that one. Does that catch your interest at all, or no Ryan Tannehill?
Not really. Last week, I was considering it, and he did decent 20.4 DraftKings points. This week, not really going to go there. I'm not sure how owned Derrick Henry is going to be this week. I know last week he was one of the highest owned running backs, but if Derrick Henry is really high owned, I wouldn't mind some lineups with Tannehill, Brown, guys like that to get off the Derrick Henry chalk, but have not seen the ownership yet. So if you think Derrick Henry is going to be high owned, I wouldn't mind some Tannehill shots.
I don't think so. Let's go over to the running back position right now, actually. At the top, I think Alvin Kamara might get a little bit more ownership. It'll be interesting to see how people are going to be scared off because maybe it's not the best matchup for Alvin Kamara against Tampa Bay, but I kind of like the matchup for him. $8,400 on FanDuel, $7,000. I think that's $8,700 on DK, and I think it's somewhat doable. I think you pay off that price tag. I think point per dollar wise kind of grades out a little bit better than Henry. What are your thoughts about Henry and Kamara this week?
No, the matchup for Kamara is fine. Tampa Bay, best running defense in the league, but Kamara, he's not just a running back. I mean, this guy can catch the ball as well, and he can get a ton of receptions. So I think Kamara is definitely fine. Henry is a guy that, I don't mind this week, especially if he's going to be lower owned. He's going against the Colts defense, who typically has a really good run defense. So if he is low owned, I don't mind taking some shots. Like even last week against Kansas City, kind of a weird game like that. The way the game went, I kind of expected it to go like the completely opposite way. But Kansas City's so bad this year defensively, and now Mahomes is not looking so great the past couple weeks. But yeah, Kansas City they won 27-3, and they gave Derrick Henry 29 rushing attempts, and they also gave him 2 targets, 2 receptions. So no matter what, it seems like Derrick Henry's going to get nearly 30 touches. And for that reason, I do have a ton of interest in him. The guy's a beast. But yeah, I think Henry and Kamara are both great options up top this week.
Yeah, but I think my favorite running back, cover boy right behind us, Darrell Henderson. He burned me last week, but I think I'm going to go back down to the well this week. I know they're playing the Houston Texans and blowouts are possible, but there's touchdowns that get involved inside the blowout. And I don't think the Texans are going to put up any points on the board. I feel like if you haven't played Bucks or Rams players in the last 2 to 3 weeks in GPPs, you haven't cashed. So I'm going to go right back to the well with Darrell Henderson. And I like Joe Mixon as well. I like his price tag, $7,600, $6,900 would definitely get the job done. But Brady, is there anybody else you like in this mid-range? Because I know there's a couple of other guys in there too.
Yeah, I was actually looking at those exact same two, Henderson and Joe Mixon. And yeah, Henderson got me last week, man. I had a bet on him. I had him in about all my lineups. He got me bad, but how can you not go back to him? You're in a great spot against Houston. They're 14-point favorites. Great game script. I got to go back to Darrell Henderson. Hopefully his ownership does get lowered because of a bad performance last week, but it wasn't his fault. I mean, they just didn't give him a ton of opportunities. And if he would have scored a touchdown, he could have, had a good game there. So Henderson for me, also Mixon's in a great game script as well, 10.5-point favorites. Other than that, I guess the other guy I was looking at, first of all, if I had to rank him, it's Henderson number 1, Mixon number 2, and then right around that range, number 3 would be DeAndre Swift, who he's like a running back and a wide receiver into one. And he's awesome, man. I mean, he's somebody that is in a 48-point total game against Philly. He's 7,100. He's not too bad priced. 19.6 DraftKings points on average. They did price him up 1,100 from last week, which is crazy, but I still think he's in play. This guy's going to get a ton of receptions, especially seeing that they're dogs as well. So yeah, I like Swift a lot.
Everybody keeps on trying to find what Detroit Lions value wide receiver is going to pop every week. Or maybe, DeAndre Swift, the dude that leads the league in most yards after catch right now, is just the number 1 wide receiver for the team. I love me some DeAndre Swift this week. Going down a little bit more, I actually bet the anytime touchdown when that week came up. I like Zach Moss, $6,100, $5,200. I think that's a low flower GPP option that I might get on or off later on as the week. But let's go over to the wide receiver position with no Adams on the slate this week. It kind of feels weird seeing Cooper Kupp at the top of the price range, but deservedly so, man. Cooper Kupp is putting up Megatron numbers, probably better than Megatron numbers with Matthew Stafford this year. What wide receivers caught your interest in the high-end range? It's a very sexy mid-range this week, I would say.
It's Cooper Kupp. It's Cooper Kupp, man. I mean, this guy he's unbelievable. He's averaging 28.9 DraftKings points. He's had at least 10 targets in every single game. This guy just keeps on getting it done. It doesn't matter the game. It doesn't matter the game script. They can be 17-point favorites like they were last week. They're 14 favorites again. They're going to get him the ball, and they're going to give him the ball a lot. I still have nightmares. I'll probably have nightmares for the next year. I was late in my draft in the season, my season long earlier this year, and I had Robert Woods and Cooper Kupp. They're right next to each other. I had to pick one, and I went with Robert Woods, and it's gonna sting for a while. But yeah, Cooper Kupp, man, he's good, and 9,000. It may seem like a lot, but with the usage he's getting with the matchup against Houston, it's probably not enough salary. He probably should be closer to like the 9,500 with the way he's been playing. So yeah, up top it's Cooper Kupp for me, and there's not really a close second. I mean, Diggs is fine, but give me Kupp.
I kind of like Jamar Chase a little bit against the Jets secondary. I will say though, the Jets secondary is, maybe not as bad as I kind of preconceived thought before looking at the stats. One of my favorite high tier, what do we call it? The high tier range kind of like the hybrid of like the mid-range, but not the highest price wide receivers. I love me some A.J. Brown this week against the Indianapolis Colts. That secondary's been absolutely awful. We've been targeting that secondary all year long, and I don't think it changes this week with A.J. Brown. He looked really healthy last week. I think I'm going to go back to the wall with him. $7,600, $6,900 for A.J. Brown seems like a really good price tag. And then Antonio Brown, officially, I think he's going to be out for a little bit. I think 2 to 3 more weeks. So that pops up the guys like Mike Evans and Chris Godwin, respectively. So Mike Evans, $7,000. Chris Godwin, still $6,400, a little bit too cheap. Stephon Diggs was the one that really stood out to me. He is, I think, the highest priced wide receiver on this slate behind Cooper Kupp, and he is only $7,300 on FanDuel. So if you're playing over there on FanDuel this week, Stephon Diggs is a must. But what were the mid-range wide receivers that really stood out to you?
Yeah, there's a lot of them. You talked about Godwin, and that was one thing I did well last week because I just locked in Chris Godwin, and he scored like about 30 DraftKings points. So, yeah, especially if Brown is out. Godwin's way too cheap. The price point does not make sense to me, $6,400. I think you can go right back to Evans as well. Evans coming off of a 3-touchdown game. He's sitting at 7,000. He scored 31 DraftKings points last week. But, yeah, between 6,500 to 6,700, we have Keenan Allen, Calvin Ridley, and Deontay Johnson. I love all three of these guys. I think Calvin Ridley, I had a lot of them last week. It didn't work out the best. He had 12.6 DraftKings points. He did score a touchdown, but he did have 10 targets. It's just weird seeing Calvin Ridley down at this price tag. So going right back to Ridley, and then also Deontay Johnson against Cleveland, 6,700. This guy gets a ton of targets. Of course, there's no Juju, averaging about 10 targets a game. Deontay Johnson he's a beast. He is a fantasy beast when he's healthy. When he's healthy, he's had, at least 14 DraftKings points each and every game. So, yeah, I like Deontay Johnson quite a bit. Have not checked the ownership, but I hope it's pretty low on him. But yeah, Johnson for me, and then also Keenan Allen's another guy that I do like going to, especially in cash games. He's safe. He's going to get a ton of targets, a ton of receptions. Doesn't have the big upside as a Ridley, a Johnson, and Evans, guys like that, a Brown. But I think Allen's a pretty safe guy for cash.
Yeah, I definitely do agree with you on that. $6,900, $6,500. He makes a lot of things work this week. Devontae Smith, Philadelphia Eagles wide receiver. You talked about some Jalen Hurts at the quarterback position. Devontae Smith is pretty interesting at $6,200 on FanDuel and $5,500 on DK this week. He kind of had a somewhat disappointing week last week, but deservedly so. I think the rookie can definitely bounce back this week. Seems like a good spot for him against the Detroit Lions. What value wide receivers kind of stood out to you? Because not really were standing out to me. I think we're going to find value at the tight end position.
So it is a Wednesday, right? So right now, there's literally like no value at all. Like this is probably the worst slate of the year in terms of value at wide receiver. But the lowest I'd go would be T. Higgins, 5,200 going against the Jets here. This guy had 15 targets last week. He's cheap, 5,200. They did price him up 300 from last week, but I think T. Higgins is a guy that's cheap. And then also, I think that Brandon Cooks could be something to look at as well. He's 5,700. He's cheap. They're big dogs, 14 point dogs, and he's pretty much the only viable guy on Houston to even think about playing. So, yeah, Cooks for me, Higgins down there, but yeah, below that it's really bad.
I would agree with you on the Cooks one. I was looking at that one too. I actually have that written down. Khalif Raymond kind of stood out to me as I joked about the Detroit Lions wide receiver value-wise. But you know what, man? He's looked pretty good the last couple of weeks. $5,700, $5,300 on DK this week. He'll be in my player pool. And Jameson Crowder last week, just a bad matchup against New England. New England historically shuts down Jameson Crowder. I think he'll get a better matchup this week against the Cincinnati Bengals. I kind of like his price tag, $4,800 on DK. But before we get into the tight end position, quick shout outs to the sponsors. Let's go over to the tight end position. We're going to try something new tonight, Brady. We're going to go the obvious, the GPP play, and your conviction play of the week at the tight end position. I'll start it off. Obvious play for me is going to be Dallas Goedert this week, $5,900, $4,700. My conviction play of the week is going to be Hunter Henry, $5,500, $4,200 on DK this week. And my GPP play of the week is going to be Gerald Everett, $4,800, $3,300 on DK this week. What are you going to go with? We're trying something new. Didn't even pre-warn you about this one. So we're going to see where Brady's brain is at on the tight end position. Historically, always the hardest position to fill out on DraftKings every week.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, I mean, we agree on the first one. Obvious for me is going to be Dallas Goedert going against Detroit. I like that a lot. Don't mind stacking him up with Hurts as well. And then same thing for me as well, the conviction play, Hunter Henry. This guy's scored in the last 4 weeks each time. And it's the revenge game narrative as well for Henry there. And then my GPP play, yeah, I mean, I think it'll be, somewhat high owned. It's going to be Ricky Seals-Jones. He keeps getting it done. I talk about him every week, 22 targets in the last 3 games. I think he had like 6 receptions last week, so Seals-Jones is pretty cheap as well. But yeah, I think we're on the same page for the most part on tight end.
By the end of the season, you're going to end up buying a Ricky Seals-Jones
jersey. I'm going to have to.
For your birthday or something at this rate. Let him hit another first touchdown prop in the primetime game this year, and Brady might be getting the jersey. But, yeah, I think we're going to try that at the tight end position. I feel like it clears it up a little bit. And because, at this point at the tight end position, it's usually whatever stack lineup I have. I usually try to center it around my tight end. That's the easiest way to kind of do it. But, shouts to everybody that's in the chat. Make sure you hit the like button if you're watching this on the replay. I know a lot of people are watching this PFL final card. And if you are, you tuned in at the right time because before we head on out of here, if you made it this far into the video, make sure you hit the like button, the bell notification, and PFL free play is going to be Molvid Kubialov. He comes on in 15 minutes. He is part of the Eagles MMA. I know this is a NFL DraftKings and FanDuel show, but, if there's money to be made, why not give it out? But, Brady, what do you got going on this week? Where can they follow you at? Where can they see the content?
Yep, you can follow me on Twitter, DFS_numbers, Instagram, DFS by the numbers. Check me out on YouTube, DFS by the numbers. I posted some UFC content, got my full card breakdown prediction video out already, going live Friday after the weigh-ins, and then once more Saturday, 1 hour prior to the prelims. Should be a big card this week, and I'm looking forward to it. Hopefully make some money there.
Yes, sirree. Let's get it. I'm going to end up having to find somebody new next to me, to the right of me on next Wednesday. So from 2 Wednesdays from now, see you later. We're out, and see you Friday.
See you then.